Well, John, I appreciate it's a big game on Saturday against Morecambe. I know you told the players how important it is, but how equally important is it not to put too much pressure on the players just for one fixture?
Yeah, I mean, just a quick one before we go on to the game. There was a video leaked, I think, of a few of our players dancing in the gym, which was recorded on Monday, but unfortunately it leaked on Wednesday, which doesn't give a good impression of what we're doing at the club, what we're trying to do at the club. Seeing players laughing and joking when we're probably 12, 14 hours after we've got, you know, a defeat at home, which we're all hurting from. But the players have been, you know, they've been told in uncertain terms that going out into social media or the public domain, people laughing and joking after we've got beat, it doesn't look good. It's not acceptable. But on the same token, we want people to go to the gym and work hard and enjoy that aspect. And you know, I don't want, we've suffered a defeat that we're all a bit raw about. Well, we were on Tuesday and Wednesday. But I don't want the players. I want the players full of confidence now going into Saturday. I don't want the players with the chins on the floor and being negative. I want us to be, you know, really positive. We had a good meeting on Wednesday. We had, you know, the players came in on Wednesday. And we went through, you know, a couple of hours in this room of the video, looking at areas that we did well in and areas that we definitely need to improve in. And it was a positive meeting, and we've come out of that, you know, refreshed and raring to go for Saturday. And that's the message that we want to send out to the public domain. But people can actually twist that quite easily. And so just to clarify what's gone on and what's gone on since. So that's that. And then when you look at football in general, I'm desperate for a win on Saturday, don't get me wrong about that. But then I look at, you know, Chesterfield, good friends of mine, the people, you know, Paul Cook obviously, and Gary Roberts, and, you know, Kieran Zaya being there, Webby, you know, so they've got lots of people who we know, and the owners, Ash and Phil, great people, and they've suffered a really, you know, tough week this week. One of their players getting a really bad injury. Yeah. And it puts into perspective football. You know, how much people can take for granted that players are pawns, and they can sometimes forget that they're human beings. And so, you know, I think everybody at Gillingham Football Club wishes, you know, young Tyrone Williams, you know, a speedy recovery. And, you know, hopefully everything pans out for the way they want it to pan out. So now going back to ourselves, we've got a massive game on Saturday, and we've, you know, there was a lot of words spoke on Wednesday, and we had good dialogue with the players, and we've got to realise that the threat of relegation is there, and we don't want to be drawn into that. But we've got to be aware that if we don't pick up results, we will be in that, and so that's the harsh reality of football. And there's not just us in that situation, by the way. There's probably about 8 or 9 teams who could fall into that category. So we don't want to be one of them. And the only way you're not going to be one of them is by winning games. Now, I've said this before, and you know, and I feel as though I'm repeating myself, but there's a lot of things that stops you winning games. And we've suffered it more than anybody last week. And I'm not blaming anything for Tuesday. You know, we were the, I know it's an age-old phrase that a lot of people get, a lot of managers get laughed at for saying, but we were the architects of our own downfall. And, you know, we've got to learn quickly from that, which we will do. But we've got to take the positives of how well we've played in the last 4 games, how there's been a shift in the mentality of the team, in the way we've been playing football, the way we've been handling the ball, the way we've been creating chances. And now it's just a case of putting all that together and get the win. And we've got to realise the importance of it. I think the fans already know the importance of it. But I think the fans have got to realise the importance of their contribution to the game on Saturday. So we're going to need them. And you know what? I was disappointed, you know, the response that we've seen on Tuesday. But it, you know, it's understandable from football fans who've been starved of any kind of pleasure or any kind of success. And we're desperate to give them that. But I want the fans to feel part of our success. You know, I want them to feel part of the success process, and they can help us on Saturday, and I hope they do, because when Priestfield's rocking, you know, it's difficult. It's a difficult place to come to, and I want it to be a difficult place for Morecambe to come to.
Lovely. John, appreciate that. Matt, all yours.
John, did you see enough on Tuesday night to suggest that win is closer than you perhaps thought it was a week ago?
I thought it was really close a week ago, to be honest. We made some elementary errors that we, you know, were very, very avoidable, and we missed some gilt-edged opportunities. But we are making opportunities now, which we weren't when I first come. I think, you know, even the most disappointed fan can recognise that the players are giving their all, which as a football fan is the minimum you should expect, but it's not always the minimum that you get. And not just from our club. You know, there's lots of fans who are disappointed with the output of the players. I'm getting the output that I require now. Now we've got to turn that into wins, and I think we are close to a win. I think, you know, you can bemoan your luck. I mean, we are having no luck. Well, we're having loads of bad luck. But you've got to keep going through that. You've got to keep working hard, and we will work hard, and we will get it right. Because you know, I've said this before. You know, I've been doing it a long time, and I know what it takes to win a game of football. And people mightn't think that at the moment because I haven't won for Gillingham, but we will get it right.
You talk about the fans, and obviously they're frustrated. It's the results they're frustrated with, isn't it, rather than the performances?
Now it is 100%. But I couldn't say that when I first come, to be honest. And I'm not blaming anybody else here, because even the first couple of games that I was in charge, you know, myself and Jimmy were in charge. Yeah, a lot of, you know, you've got to take the responsibility for that, and I don't think they were getting what the minimum what they deserved. I think they can see that they are getting it now. They're getting the effort, they're getting the fight, they're getting the drive and the passion. We need to turn that into wins. And people just think Morecambe are second from bottom, like they thought. You know, I'm not saying our fans, but people in general will think Carlisle bottom, Morecambe second from bottom. It's a cakewalk. These clubs are fighting for their lives, so they're probably more of a difficult opponent than a team who's sitting 12th in the league. So we've got to do everything we can and everything in our power, but we've got to go into that game positive. And I've come in today with a really positive mood, and I intend to be positive till 5 o'clock on Saturday.
You've got to decide, haven't you, whether you tell the players this is massive because we're in a relegation battle, or you take that pressure off, because if the players are under pressure, they may well be nervous. Which of the two is it?
Oh no, the first one, 100%. You know, you've got to be a realist. So when you're challenging for promotion, I hate it when they say, "Oh, don't mention the P word." That's your prize. Keep your eye on the prize. Now, at this moment in time, our prize is to get away from that relegation zone as quickly as possible. I'll mention it every day, because if you know what you're striving for, you've got a better chance of reaching it. If you don't know where you're going, it's a damn sight harder to find than if you do know where you're going.
But the sides down the bottom, Morecambe, Tranmere, Carlisle, I wouldn't have thought they're going to get more than 9 points more than you between now and the rest of the season.
They wouldn't, but there's always an opportunity to. And I certainly, if I was down there as low as them, I'd be fighting for my lives, because, you know, any chink in your armour, you can go through it. We've got to get to the points total that we think is necessary, and we've got to do it as quickly as possible. We can't say, well, there's another chance next week, because before you know where you are, there's no more chances. So we'll be fighting every inch of the way on Saturday in what I know is going to be a difficult game. You know, I know Derek's teams quite well. I got on quite well with Derek himself anyway. But we know the way they'll set up. They'll know the way we'll set up, and it'll be a tough game, but it's one that I know we're capable of winning. And now we've got to turn our better performances into a better output and points.
It was interesting talking to Romeo Hutton. He was saying him and Max Clark have this little competition between themselves, who can get the more crosses in, and he was saying, well, I got part of the battle because I got more crosses in, but Max's cross led to a goal. Do you like the fact that they're competing with each other to get those balls in?
I like people competing all over the park. I'm having, you know, little cake bets with Jimmy Morgan on how many goals he's going to score and saying. I like incentives. I like people taking pleasure in the work, and I like people seeing the fun aspect of it and how it can be enjoyable. And football, if players aren't enjoying what they're doing, they won't do it half as well as if they are. And so I want people to enjoy the game. I want people to recognise the importance of it, realise the gravity of it, realise the seriousness of it, but still know that there's a capacity to enjoy your job, because we've got one of the best jobs in the world, in my opinion, which is such pleasure. It emanates so much pleasure you can emanate a lot of despair and disappointments, but without that, the highs wouldn't be as high as what they are. And so it's a wonderful business to be in, and we've got to enjoy every minute of it.
A quick question on player availability, and one specifically, Ashraf Benoni, is he still at Palace? How he's getting on?
He has a hamstring strain, so he's back at Palace now doing his rehab. So we'll know probably about 3 weeks' time about him.
So you're hoping he's still going to be involved at some point this season?
At some point this season, yeah.
Okay. Conor Masterson, is he closer?
He's back training with the first team now, so yeah, he should be coming into the squad very, very soon.
Okay. And then the likes of, trying to think of the others, Johnny Williams,
Johnny's been training, Marcus Wiley's been training, Ewan Williams is just... Ewan and Ethan have had a little bit of a setback. Can't think of any more.
No. And just on Saturday, should you win, there'll be 12 points between you and Morecambe. Is that the victory that you think you need?
No, it won't be the one, but it'll be a big, big step towards it, and that's what we're trying to do.
Good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Do you like the look of the front three that you put out there on Tuesday, John?
It was different, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. There was areas that I did like, there was areas that I didn't like. So we've got to look at, see what we've got available, and what we think, we've had a good look at Morecambe and what we think will be the answer to the problems that Morecambe are going to pose us, and where we think we can get at Morecambe to maybe try and do a bit of damage to them. And so we've got quite a few, we've got a wide gamut, or smorgasbord as people like to say, of opportunities for people, or formations to play, or different combinations of forwards. And that's a pleasing thing to have, than rather than have, just 2 players fit.
You've been trying to fix the goal problem, haven't you? Creating chances now, so it's moving in the right direction.
That's the best way to solve a goals crisis, is create chances. It's when you don't create the chances that's your big worry. And that's, initially when we come in, that was a big worry. It's still a worry because we're not scoring as many as what I want, but we're making the chances, so. And we're making gilt-edged chances. I'm not just talking. I sound like a Marks and Spencer's, I bet. There's chances and then there's Gillingham chances. So so we're making good chances now. We've got to start taking them. And if you make that good a chance, they're not all going to miss.
Nev got a goal and his sort of drought as well. He must
Yeah,
be delighted to get.
Yeah, and I was really pleased for him as well myself, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to go on a drought, and people remind you of it every single week, every one, another one. You get asked the same questions. So I was delighted for Nev, and the one thing about Nev is he never stops going. So he's like a clockwork mouse, isn't he? And he got the awards during the night for his effort. So unlucky not scoring again. We could do that 100 times and score 99. He gets a double deflection and doesn't go in from a rocket shot from 6 yards. That's going into the middle of the goal, and somehow manages to find a way to not go in. But that's football for you. Then, as I said, you keep going, you keep making them chances. They'll go in a lot for you.
Crossbars and goalkeepers keep anyway.
Yeah, that could be my second difficult album, that crossbars and goalkeepers.
Just on Wednesday, when you got the players in, traditionally their day off, you brought them in. What was the mood like? And I suppose you have to switch it to a positive.
Yeah, I mean, we've given them days off when they've done well as well. So it's not all one way. They have had days off that they haven't expected to have off. So they can take it as a punishment if they want. It's not a punishment. We had to start the focus on Saturday. We had to start it early, and that meant doing a strip down of the whole game, and that's not going to take, the ball's in play 58 minutes, but when you have to dissect it, you're talking 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So we felt that would be best, or I felt that would be best done on Wednesday. And of that, footballers shouldn't think that any days off are carved in stone. And if you look at Ipswich's rise to the Premiership, when Ipswich were in League One, they never had a day off. So they work 7 days a week, and look what it's got them. So, there's a balance between fitness and freshness, and and getting into players what you need to get in at the right time. We've been doing this a long time, and it becomes almost second nature to us. So we take on board all the sports science that's available, and which makes our job easier and more informed. So better as well as easier, it can be more productive. And you know, we're lucky we've got a great medical team and a fitness team here, which helps us. And so that going hand in hand with the experience myself and Jimmy bring, and also looking what the players need going into the final state of a season. That might mean coming in a lot of days, that might be coming in a few days. But what it will do is, we know that we're getting the best output what we can get on a Saturday. And if that means we have to come in every day, or it means I come in 2 days, that'll be the deal. That'll be the deal, because what we want is what we get on Saturday, which obviously we hope is a positive outcome.
I know you live for wins, don't you? So I mean, how much is this affecting you?
Oh, massively. This is the longest I've ever been. Myself and Jimmy, as long as we've ever been, without winning. So, and sometimes when you see the ball bounce out when it should go in, you see goals disallowed, when you see blatant penalties not given, when you see blatant sending-offs not given, you can think, oh, well, okay. Well, you can't think like that. You can't curl up in the ball and feel sorry for yourself. It's not in my nature, it's not in Jimmy's nature. And thankfully we've got a lot of players who it's not in their nature either. And we'll roll our sleeves up, we'll stick our chests out, and we'll do what we have to do to come through this, which is fight hard. Fight fair, but fight hard. And work as hard as we can to get out of it. Thank you.
Was Saturday, was Tuesday perhaps more disappointing than this game?
Yeah, 100%. And it demanded the way we lost as well. You know, they'd barely been there, our goal. They hadn't laid a glove on us for 42 minutes. Then they had a 2-minute spell of pressure, and they scored in that. And then we didn't start particularly badly in the second half, but a lapse of concentration has led to another goal. And before you know where you are, we're having to stretch the game, we're having to chase the game, and it played into their hands because they could counter on us. When you look back at the video, they weren't as dominant in the last 10 or 15 minutes as what I thought they were. I thought they had more chances than what they did, but you get caught up in the emotion of that. And that's sometimes that's why it's good to sit with the players and watch it dispassionately. And so you get a better handle on how the game's being played. But it was disappointing for me because that game was there to be won. I think the hard part was taking the lead. I think we were desperate to get in at half-time, 1-0, to refocus, and I think we would have done. But it's all ifs and ands. We did concede and we did lose. We've got to learn from that. Don't dwell on it. Don't sulk about it. Be positive and get into a frame of mind. I want my players going onto the pitch on Saturday in a good, positive, happy frame of mind. And they'll only get that by getting the care and the attention that they need from myself, Jimmy, and the rest of the staff.
Was there a smile or a grimace on your face when the rain started singing you scored a goal due to that?
More of a grimace, to be honest. I can understand it. I don't agree with it. You know what? We're all disappointed when the ball won't go in the net. It's not been for the ones that's trying in the last 4 weeks, that's for sure. So there's no one more frustrated than us. And so I can see the tongue-in-cheek aspect of it. Not saying I agree with it.
I saw some comments you made about the way Hawke was dealt with by the referee, or not dealt with by the referee on Tuesday night. Why is that coming to football these days, John?
It just seems to be a thing that a target man can be harassed and can be manhandled. And I think part of the problem is because it happens so much in the game, the referees feel as though they'd be given 20 free kicks. And they don't want to be seen as a whistle-happy referee. So they try and let as much as they go as possible, but when it's blatantly obvious, there was 6 or 7 times on Tuesday where his shirt was pulled, so you could see all of his back. You know, the really disappointing thing for me was the build up to their equaliser. A free kick was given against Ollie Hawkins that nobody knew what it was for. Ball went into the box. The referee wasn't looking into the box, he was looking at the lads who put the free kick in. And yet, so he must have been told by his assistant referee who was 65 yards away that a transgression has occurred. When you look at it again in the video, one player's got hold of one player's got, and Ollie Hawkins is trying to free himself from being held. He's not pushed him, he's not tugged him. It's just a case of both of them with their hands on each other, which someone 65 yards away is deemed that's a free kick. Within a minute and a half, they've had a sustained spell of pressure and the ball's in your net. Now, I'm not saying that's the reason why they scored, but that is a contributory factor. So if you think, because they don't want to be whistle happy all the while, if you think that probably in interactions with Ollie Hawkins or any big striker, there'll be 6 or 7 fouls given, you can bet your life that more will be given against them than for them. That's where it's wrong. You know, there's one player trying to get away from someone and one person trying to pull them down. It's not the person who's trying to get away, it's the person who's trying to pull them down, yet they often go unpunished.
You talk about things like that. How's Robbie after meeting with the advertising board?
Yeah, okay. He just managed to get his arm out in time, which was lucky for everybody really, and the advertising board.
That was one of those things Tony got me, that how can that be allowed in football?
Well, you know, you don't know what's going through people's minds at the time. Everyone's trying to gain an edge. I think, you know, going back to what I was saying about the Chesterfield boy before, people that have got to realise that, you know, there's lots of things at stake when you take onto a football pitch, and you know, player safety is definitely paramount.
And you mentioned about getting the fans behind you from the word go Saturday. If Priestfield was accorded, we all hope it will be Saturday. Our first win's only 9 minutes away, surely.
I hope so. You know, we're trying to put everything in place to make sure that happens. As I said, Morecambe won't come and roll over, that's for sure. And you know, I've got a strong affinity for Morecambe. I had 7 great playing years there. And I've got really good friends at Morecambe, but they'll be my enemy on Saturday till 5 o'clock. You know, and I said in my programme notes, a big welcome to everyone from Morecambe, especially the fans, because I got on great with the fans. But you know, Gilling was my priority on Saturday, and you know, it doesn't matter how you'd inflict a defeat. We wanted to inflict a defeat on them.